He interviewed me just over 10 years ago, gave me a job with Nutramax. I gotta tell 3 quick stories.
They're never quick.
Yeah. One is a great prank Paul pulled on me, and the Nutramax guys, I know you've heard this before. Second one is a story about the epitome of Paul being the honey badger not giving a shit. And third one is just a story about Paul being the legend that he is. So back in 2011, I got hired. 6 months into the job, we're at the Nutramax. We're down, we're up here in this area for the Christmas party. And we go out to Looney's for dinner, and they had a live band up there. We had one of those really long tables, and you know, we kind of already eaten, and we were kind of all getting up, chit-chatting, mingling, meeting new people. I'm sitting there, I'm a 22-year-old little buzz cut, no facial hair. I'm sitting there. The CEO of our company, Dr. Todd Henderson, sitting across from me. The head of the veterinary division, Dr. Devlin's next to him. And then another, executive, well, maybe, Jeff Queen. He was right there. And it was just me staring at them, and I'm nervous. I'm just trying to make some small talk. I'm looking around. The band on the stage is getting ready, and they're singing. The front woman of the band is this woman. She's barely got any clothes on. And I kind of look up at her, and I just look over at them. I'm like, so y'all think she's pretty hot or what? And they just stare at me and don't even say anything. And I just get up and I go, I'm going to go catch up with the sales guys. We get back to the Hampton Inn right here in Edgewood later that night. We're down in the game room playing foosball, playing card games, drinking beers. Paul goes, Carter, get your ass over here. Him and Sean are standing, they go, what the hell did you say to Dr. Todd at dinner? I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, he just came up to us, he says, who's this punk kid over here? We gotta fire him. And they're like, well, why? What did he do? And he goes, Todd said you went up to him and said, would you bang that woman on the stage? And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. And I'm like, are you pranking me, Paul? And he's like, no, Carter. I was like, is he really pissed? He goes, Dr. Todd is a man of the Lord. Like, your ass is on the line. You better go over there and apologize. So I go over. I'm 6 months in. I'm so young. I'm like going up, stammering my ass off. I'm like, Dr. Todd, I don't know how words were misconstrued at dinner. I would never ask if you would have sex with a random woman like that. And he's just staring at me, and then finally he goes, dude, what are you talking about? And I turn around and call him Sean. And I look back at Dr. Todd, and he goes, gotcha. So that set the tone for I knew how Paul was going to be. Second story, this may be 4 or 5 years ago. We had a sales meeting, and remember, this is Paul being the honey badger, not giving a shit. And we had a sales meeting down in Florida at New Smyrna Beach, and after dinner, we had a nice dinner. We went back out to the hotel, and this wasn't, I think it was a Hilton Garden Inn, so they didn't have penthouse suites or anything, but about 25 of us went up. We congregated in Sean's hotel room. Every one of all 25 of us, including Paul, you had your own hotel room at this place, right? But we all went up there, we're playing card games, we're drinking beers, and it's a room about, from here over 25 of us in there. So Paul comes up after about 30 minutes or so, and Paul, I'm sorry, I hope everyone's done eating up. Paul goes into the bathroom. He comes out several minutes later, and then he just walks out of the bathroom, the door stays open, he just goes, all right, y'all, I'm going to bed, have a good night. He walks out and leaves, and then everyone just starts going, what? Who farted? Everyone's like, did you fart? And we're like, Paul, what? You had your own room right down the hallway. So at that point, it was like, he just doesn't care. Yeah, I'll never forget you walking out of the bathroom and saying, y'all have a good night. So, final story. Tom, these are going quicker than I probably thought, so I'm trying to speed it up here. Final story. This was maybe 6 years ago or so, and I get a phone call from Paul. I pick up the phone. We're about a month away from the Christmas party. Paul goes, hey, Carter. So for those of you that don't know Nutramax, we have the veterinary division and the consumer division that makes our human products. He goes, Carter, the consumer division has challenged us to a dance contest at the Christmas party. We're going to be in front of like 500, 600 people, right? We had, I think, a couple, like a state senator from South Carolina in the crowd that year. and they were going to be the judges, the congressmen and stuff. And he goes, so it's going to be the veterinary sales reps versus the consumer sales reps, and then the head of the consumer sales, this guy Justin Cross and his wife, versus Paul and Trish. Paul goes, hey Carter, I already got the best looking wife out of all the Nutramax employees, but Trish can't come this year, so I figured I'd just call the one that had the next best looking wife, and your wife Sam, she be my dance partner. Trish can't come, and I go, I think she'll play ball, let me ask her, and I call my wife, she's like, yeah, I'll do it. So sales reps go first. The consumer division, they have this choreographed Michael Jackson dance. Meanwhile, the veterinary sales reps, we call a meeting 30 seconds before we go into the banquet room. We're like, what are we doing out there? Tom, you're going to do the worm. John Sawada, you start breakdancing. One person just went and just started shaking their ass. So we're like, okay, I don't know. They maybe beat us on that. We'll see. Well, Justin Cross, the head of the consumer division, him and his wife go up. They had been taking salsa dance lessons like once a week for months. And so they go up and they just do a phenomenal job. So it comes to the point where it's my wife Sam and Paul's turn to get up there, and what everyone didn't know, Paul, my wife, and I, we were in Paul's hotel room about 1 hour before the Christmas party saying, what are we going to do out there? And we had said, let's try to do the Dirty Dancing scene now. So Paul gets out there on the dance floor and they're like, Paul, where's your partner? Paul, where's your partner? So I'll never forget, they go, Paul, where's your partner? And he goes, just play the music. So you hear it now. And I get up with my wife, and I have her in my arm, we're approaching the dance floor, and then we kind of stop, and then Paul does the... And then my wife looks at me, she pushes me away, she goes up, and I think we had the first minute and a half down to a T, so he had to go, he spent and as soon as we started, all 500 people just started going crazy. Women were standing up on the chairs, clapping. Needless to say, Paul helped us secure the dance.
The funniest thing about that was, Todd Henderson says, you won that, but I really wasn't looking at you. I turned to him and said, well, Todd, I didn't want people looking at some short, fat, ugly guy. I was looking at her.
So, in conclusion, Paul, thanks for giving me a shot at this thing. It's meant a lot to me.
Now, wait a minute, Carter.
Yeah, sure.
One of the first meetings we went to, didn't I help try to facilitate a date for you down in Ocean City?
Yeah. Yeah, we were at Hooper's, and like the girl at the table, she was there. Paul was chatting it up with this young girl, and he's like, "Where do you go to school?" And she goes, "Well, I'm going to Virginia Tech next year." And Paul just goes, "Oh, he went to Tech. Go ahead and give him your phone number. Y'all will meet up." I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go." So yeah, thank you, Paul, for everything. To you and Trish, congratulations on your retirement. Wish you the best. Thank you. Good job.